So welcome, BVP scholars, to our first lesson, our first flipped lesson of this class. As I have introduced to you in class itself, I'm going to be rolling out a few of these flipped lessons within the classroom so we can get used to the procedures and the feeling of these flipped lessons. Now, most of these are going to be social studies content lessons related to the medieval times and other things that we're learning in class, but today I want to talk to you specifically about flipped learning, what it is, why we're doing it, and to give you a little bit of exposure within a safe learning environment. Now, our SWMAT for the day, there are going to be three things that I'm going to want you to get out of this lesson. By the end of the lesson, I want you to be able to explain what a flipped lesson is or what a flipped classroom is. You should be able to explain that, so when you go home and you talk to your parents and they say, hey, what did you learn in school today? You can say that you learned about a flipped classroom. Oh, what's a flipped classroom? Well, it's this. I want you to be able to explain that to your parents. I also want you to be able to explain to your parents or to anybody who asks, what are a couple of the advantages of a flipped class? Why do we do this? Why have a flipped classroom? And then finally, I want you to think deeply about any questions or concerns that you might have about flipping, because this is a new thing. This is kind of anything that's new produces anxiety, produces worry, and that's a natural process. But the more we can talk about it and express our concerns, the better we can start to alleviate those concerns. So we're beginning today with what is flipping. You do not need to be a gymnast to flip. It's not a physical act, and also we don't need to be a mental gymnast to flip. It's a very simple change, but also a very important change for how we're going to be doing our learning in this class. Flipping basically takes the class lecture, what your teacher might stand and deliver in front of the classroom, and it takes that and it turns that into basically your homework. Your introduction to new material. You're very accustomed to getting your I&M at the beginning of your class, and it can take anywhere from 10 to 15, sometimes even 20 minutes, and that becomes your homework. Now I'm going to make a commitment to you to have a goal of 10 minutes or less, and I absolutely will not exceed 12 minutes on these I&M lessons because I want to respect your home time in that way. Now, what you would have been doing as homework, that is all those practice worksheets or extra reading and so on and so forth, that is now going to be the stuff that we're doing in class. So I will not be giving you worksheets. I will not be giving you extra reading as a part of your homework, or I usually won't be giving you extra reading as a part of your homework. Instead, it's going to be these content specific lessons. This means that now we have homework and classwork being flipped. The homework is the classwork is the homework. Flipping. Down here at the bottom of the screen, you can see a little chart that shows this. The traditional teacher leading a class discussion, not a lot of opportunity for scholar participation or scholars talking to each other in a group. And then you go home and you are again just kind of sitting and doing this homework by yourself. Now instead, our lecture component, that direct instruction, is what you do at home, and that leaves a lot more time in class for group discussion. That starts to get into our why. Flipping a class allows you to learn new material at your own pace. You can pause, you can rewind, you can rewatch an entire lesson if you didn't quite get it or you didn't quite understand it. You can go back. You can think more deeply about things. You don't need to worry about taking your notes as quickly as possible because the teacher is going to be moving on soon and you don't have time to actually think about what the teacher just said. Just pause. Hit that pause button. Think about what was just going on in that last slide. Write down any questions, comments, concerns, or connections that you've made, and then hit play when you're ready. In the past, I've found that this worked really well with diverse groups of learners. In one class, I might be teaching at one pace, and that was good for a group of scholars in the middle. But I would have those that needed a little bit more time to process were lost halfway through the lesson. Or those who process things really quickly were getting bored because I had to wait for other people to catch up. This eliminates a lot of that problem. You can learn this new material with your parents. You can sit down and watch these lessons with your parents if they're interested. They say, hey, what are you learning in class? You can say, hey, watch this video with me. And finally, and this is a key one, you can work ahead to prepare if you've got a busy schedule. If you know that you've got a soccer game or a baseball game or something else coming up in your schedule, and you're not going to be able to do homework on a particular night, I'm going to make a commitment to you that by Thursday evening, I'm going to have the following week's lessons all posted so that you can work ahead and you can be ahead. That way, you can account for that soccer game, or if we can convince Mr. Matting to jump out of an airplane again and you want to go see that, you don't need to worry about the homeworks getting in the way. You can get a little bit ahead. Also, this allows more time in the classroom to work and discuss what we're learning with other scholars. It allows you to have more individual attention from the teacher. That is, I'm going to be able to spend a lot more time with you. Instead of 15 minutes standing in front of the class, it's 15 more minutes I get to circulate around the classroom and check in and see how you're doing. And it also takes your focus off of me during that time. And it's going to redirect everything that we do with our class time to the importance of learning what it is we're working on that day. Also makes your homework less boring. It's not repetitive. It's not going back over the things that we learned in class. Instead, it's always new. It's always something different. That's why we do our flipping. It provides a great opportunity. Now, of course, it is new. Many scholars in this classroom will never have experienced this before. Or maybe you had something similar to this, but not to the extent we're going to do it in this history class this year. It's natural to have questions or concerns. So please, now I want you to take a moment and write down any of those questions or concerns that you might have about entering into a flipped classroom. I do want to take those questions seriously. We're going to schedule out some time to go through those questions and concerns and try to explain this better for anybody who might not have understood what we're doing. So, action items. If you are the first scholar at your group right now to have completed this lesson, I'm going to need you to raise your hand as soon as you've finished this final slide. Once you raise your hand, I'll be calling on you to come and collect exit tickets for all the scholars at your table. And you'll begin that exit ticket right away. And hopefully you'll be done when other scholars are done, and I'll have an assignment for you then. So please go through these action steps, and once you have completed your exit ticket, please once again raise your hand, and we'll be ready to move on. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed your first flip lesson.